We hear a lot about Gaza. For the last several years, Israel has attacked Gaza with such force that it's beyond belief. So Gaza has been on the news. And so I think it's important to take a look a little bit at what the Gaza Strip is and where it is. Now, I think it's important to understand the Gaza Strip is not a naturally delineated piece of land. The Gaza Strip is an area that was established by Israel. In the early 1950s, the ethnic cleansing of Palestine continued beyond the establishment of the State of Israel into the early 1950s. There were hundreds of thousands of refugees that had to be herded somewhere. So the ones from the southern part of the country were herded into refugee camps around the city of Gaza on the southern coast, and a line was drawn to create the Gaza Strip. And today, the Gaza Strip is the home of about 1.7 million people, and about 1 million of them are refugees and their descendants. You can see the stats on the screen. I won't repeat all of them, but the average age is 16. That means about almost 1 million children live there. High unemployment, high poverty, no water fit for drinking. And if you go all the way down to the very last item, you'll see the literacy rates in Gaza are over 90%, 92% literacy rates, which is one of the highest in the world. I don't think the United States has a 92% literacy rate. So it doesn't make sense, because normally when you have a high literacy rate, you don't have unemployment and poverty. Unemployment and poverty are usually a result of low literacy rates, of people being illiterate. And I think it's important to understand that in Gaza, the reason there is no work, and there is no food, and there is no water, and there is no electricity, and there is no access to medicine, is because Israel is imposing this mad siege on the city, on the Gaza Strip. 5-minute drive from this line, you go into an Israeli city, and it's like this. You wouldn't dream of not having electricity. You wouldn't dream of not having access to antibiotic if your child has an ear infection. You would dream of not having clean water in the tap. 5 minutes, I'm talking about 5 minutes away from there. This horrendous reality is imposed on the people of Gaza by Israel. You may have heard the United Nations just came out with a report saying that in 5 years, the Gaza Strip would be uninhabitable. Whoever wrote the report needs to go to Gaza and see if they survive a week and tell me if it's inhabitable now. The Gaza Strip has been uninhabitable for a very long time already. What they anticipate in 5 years, I don't know. What they call it inhabitable. You cannot be less inhabitable than what it is now. And again, this is not some remote, God-forsaken place, God knows where, I don't know. This is 5-minute drive from Israeli cities where you have everything. It's 30-minute drive from Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Now, all of this besides the fact that on a regular basis for the last 70 years, almost 70 years, Israel on a regular basis has been attacking Gaza with vicious force. And you have to wonder why. So in the beginning, in the 1950s, pretty much as soon as the Gaza Strip was established, Israeli commandos would go in and attack the people of Gaza. And they would exact a terrible price. I mean, there would be dozens of civilians killed. And the reason that was given then was that there were infiltrators. There was a law that was passed by the State of Israel that made it illegal for Palestinian refugees to return to their homes. Well, the refugees wanted to go home, to bring food, to go to their fields. So this was breaking the law. So as retaliation for them, and from time to time they did come into and commit acts of violence against the occupation of their land. So Israeli forces would go in and attack them, commit terrible massacres. Then they weren't called infiltrators anymore. Then they started calling them fida'in. And I remember hearing the word fida'in and thinking of something frightening, something murderous, something scary, beyond belief. So they were fida'in. And that's why we had to go in and attack them. Then later on they call them terrorists. Today they call them Hamas. The name of the devil that exists in the Gaza Strip and justifies the attacks keeps changing. Another thing that keeps changing is the technology. In the beginning, commandos would go in and kill dozens. Last summer, in a period of 51 days, they murdered in cold blood over 2,000 people. On prime time, by the way. It was in the news, and we saw it everywhere. Everybody saw it, everybody heard about it. In a period of 51 days, they murdered over 2,000 innocent civilians in Gaza, using American-made weapons and American money. So, the technology changes, the name of the devil that resides in Gaza changes, but the reality is this: Gaza has never posed a military threat to Israel. It was incapable. It's a land. Look at the data. Impoverished refugees.